All right, so we're going to talk about summer wells today. Now, I've done the 7 days of, not even got my windows all in order. Done the 7 days of June 15th. So if you've been watching all of that, just share my screen just to show you what I've been doing. I know some of you have watched them all. Some of you may have not watched any, and that's fine. But I did say yesterday when I did the last one that I was going to do a live and basically answer any questions that has come up. Like, even though they're not my best viewed videos in the entire world, I have had a lot of comments and I've not been able to get through all of the comments. I've not even looked at YouTube today because of everything that's going on. Actually, I have in the last hour. And I've got something interesting to talk to you about. So, yeah, so for the last 7 days, episode 1 was Dawn, episode 2, Candus, and then Grandma, Geordie Sue, and then Andy and Fred. Put them in the same episode because they're cousins and they've given opposing stories about where Andy was. Then I did Hunter and Ali, and then yesterday I did law enforcement. And the first few minutes of that, the first, 8 minutes or so of that, was just running through the what the TBI have done. So I'm going to play that. I'm just going to play that through and get some people in and then just throw questions at me. However, I intend to talk about this, but if you go, no, Michelle, I don't want to hear it, then I won't. We'll do Q&A and we'll talk about theories. But I just happened to catch Dolly Vision. He came up in my suggesteds. Occasionally Dolly Vision comes up in my suggesteds and then I don't see him ever again. Anyway, I was just flicking through to see, he had a call-in show, and I was just kind of flicking through to see if anything interesting had come up. And there's a woman who is claiming to be a cousin of either Candice or Candy. I'm not really sure whether she's Candice's cousin or she's Grandma Candy's cousin or sister or something. And she's given this theory that she absolutely reckons is true. And to me, it doesn't really make sense. So if you want me to play that, and then I also noticed that Ziggy has talked about it, because I looked up the names and stuff that she was talking about, and I've just caught about half of what Ziggy was talking about last night. She called into Ziggy's. I just started watching that, and then I had to come live. Like, I was listening to it on like 1.75 speed to try and get through it. And she'd just come on Ziggy's panel. Yeah, the TBI won't even listen to her. Absolutely. So you have heard of it then. She's Candice Jr.'s cousin. All right. So she's Grandma Candy's sister. So she'll be, no, Grandma Candy's niece. Sorry. Grandma Candy's niece, Candice's cousin. Is that it? So let's play it. We might as well play it, but I'm going to play this first because it'll give some people a chance to get in, and it just kind of summarizes what the TBI said. And I think the more we can focus on what the TBI said, the better we are. Because yes, we can talk about theories, but the TBI have so little information. I think that's why there are so many theories. And they don't give us anything, do they? They don't give us anything. And why don't they give us anything? You know, in other investigations, I mean, look at the Idaho 4 investigation. I mean, no, they kept the cards very close to the vest. The important cards, like we didn't know Brian Koberger was a suspect, did we? We didn't know that they got him in their sights like 2 weeks after the murders. We didn't know that. We knew about the Elantra, but they were giving us just, you know, enough. They were giving us enough and debunking some of the nonsense. That's what they were doing. They were debunking the nonsense as they went along. And I was so thankful of that. I really was. Because with a, you know, quadruple murder that happened in a, you know, a university town, that the theories were running rampant anyway. And the police was just shutting down what they could. But yet they kept those important cards close to their vest. But the TBI have done none of that. The TBI have kept everything close to their vest. You know, you'd think that at least tell us who's not a suspect. You know, we're almost 2 years in. Surely they can clear some people. Surely by now they can clear some people. Tell us that. Right. But anyway, I'm going to play this. It goes from right from the night, and then it goes to the press conference. So there's kind of clips from, you know, various places. So I'm going to play that first, and then it gives people a chance to come in. Then I'll play Dolly Vision. I'll show you what research I found on these people that she named. And in between all of that, then I will try to answer as many questions as we can. All right, let's do that. All right, so I'm going to mute out so that this will, it won't echo. Sorry, guys, I wasn't sharing the right window, I don't think. So it was only the dispatch call. But we're good now. Good now.
Wells. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson said she was last seen walking from her home on Ben Hill Road off Beach Creek Road, not far from here, around 7 tonight. She was last seen wearing a pink shirt and grey shorts. First responders are searching on the ground. THP and medical helicopters are in the air. We're told a command post has been established, and we're at a Baptist church on Beach Creek Road, where we're told information will be released as soon as it's available.
I'm Leslie Earhart with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. 6 months ago, 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road in Hawkins County. The case remains unsolved and weighs heavily on those working to find answers. Today, the investigation remains active and ongoing as TBI agents work alongside the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI to determine what happened to Summer. Investigators have executed numerous search warrants, collecting all potential evidence. We've spoken with anyone and everyone associated with the Wells family, in some cases more than once. This includes neighbors, acquaintances, and those working in the area the day she disappeared. We've used a plane, helicopters, divers, canines, and every resource available to us during search efforts. Despite the countless hours of tireless work, the circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain unclear. At this time, there is no evidence that she was abducted. However, all avenues continue to be explored, including foul play and the very real possibility that she wandered off and became lost in the mountainous and rough terrain surrounding her home. We are asking anyone who saw Summer at any time on Tuesday, June 15th to come forward if they haven't done so already. We appreciate the public's ongoing interest in this case and urge anyone with credible information to call 1-800-TBI-FIND.
As Summer's disappearance approaches the 10-month mark, the scenarios of what happened the night of June 15th continue to grow.
The wandering away, sneaking off to go play or whatever she may have done, that is a viable option. People are probably tired of hearing this. All possibilities are on the table. We're not completely eliminating the abduction idea. There's nothing to lead us to believe that we need to focus on that alone.
In the height of the search, those on the ground combed through miles of tough, rugged terrain.
What I did ask for, and I still need, is all the people in Upper Beach Creek, Hawkins, and Sullivan County to search their property again and again. You got to look for a small child. You have to look for evidence of a small child's been. And if you got field cameras, If you got security cameras, we need you to check those again. Just keep checking them and checking them. We're trying to find every vehicle is in this holler they're living in since we started this. And we also did a roadblock, which helped at the same time that she was reported missing, to see if we come in contact with somebody that's been working, if we could see. Obviously, there's nothing came out of that, but it's just another tool that we've used to make this happen. So if the general public that lives in this area will go back and search their outbuildings, their barns, their hay fields, now it's mowing season, so when they mow, they need to pay attention. And if you have a resident that cannot search their property themselves, if they'll call my office at 423-272-4848, I will send an officer to your residence to search your property for you.
As of June 24th, 2021, search and rescue efforts for missing 5-year-old Summer Wells continues. We have now utilized 106 agencies spanning from Tennessee, Ohio, Virginia, Alabama, Georgia, and North Carolina assisting in these search efforts. Numerous specialized search and rescue groups with numerous canine teams have been represented from each of these agencies. To date, we have covered over 4.6 square miles, with that being over 3,000 acres being searched since Tuesday night when she was reported missing.
I just want to jump in there because I remember there being some confusion about what 4.6 square miles actually looks like. Because I was saying it wrong for a while, and I know a few people were, because we were assuming that 4.6 square miles would be 4.6, like the radius was 4.6. So if you take 110 Ben Hill Road as your middle point, then it's 4.6 square miles in every direction, which is quite a large area. However, it's not that. It's not that. As many people pointed out that it's not that. If you think about square miles and you think about it being, a circle, then it only fans out to about maybe 1.5 miles in all directions. And if you think about the vastness of the terrain on that one mountain that Summer lives on, it's a tiny, tiny fraction of that area. But that's what they'd searched in this press conference is the 24th. So they'd done that search in 9 days. And they carried on searching for the rest of that week in a kind of more targeted way. And then they came back at the end of November when the leaves were off the trees, and they did some more targeted searching. They did Fields Road and that area. And I think they went over the road. I think they went around like Simpson Loop area as well, if I remember rightly. And then they came back to do a targeted search sometime in February. So the following February, that would be February 2022. But Leslie Earhart does give an update on that search effort, but it's a tiny fraction. I mean, if we just take the map, and I guess we all know the map by now, don't we? Hold on, let me just get the map up. We all know Ben Hill Road by now. I know it so well. I feel like I've been there, I mean, just zoom out. Just zoom out. I mean, just that one mountain alone, it's... And that's just assuming that she's on that one mountain somewhere. But I can imagine, I mean, obviously with a search where, it's a 5-year-old little girl, and their number one theory is that she wandered off. And I believe it's still their number one theory. I might be wrong, but I really do think that they still think, at least last time we heard from the TBI, they think she wandered off. So doing 4.6 square miles let's say a mile and a half out in all directions, that's probably about what a 5-year-old could have walked. But we've seen in recent cases where even that little baby, that little one, what was his name? I can't remember his name now. Little baby, he was only like 2 or 3, and he'd got way further. Like, thinking about a toddler, he was like a mile away from his home, stuck in briars, and someone just happened to find him. He couldn't get himself out of it. But I don't know, you guys. Sometimes I think, I mean, what would a mile and a half take us? Probably way further than there. Let's probably there is a mile. You know, it wouldn't even get you to Light Hollow Road, where Frank Light lives. Wouldn't even get you that far. I mean, but I'm not disparaging. I said this in my video yesterday. I am not disparaging the searchers. Like, they pulled out all the stops in those first couple of weeks. They pulled out all the stops. You know, they had 100 like people, you know, battered, bruised, you know, just briars everywhere. Really arduous terrain, especially in the middle of summer when it's hot. I'm not disparaging them in any way at all, but it's it has to be said, it's only a very small area of that total mountain that they've done. Yeah, I truly believe they were there. I really do. How far would she go on her own? Wouldn't she ask her brother to come and run around with her? Well, if she wandered off, if that's truly what happened and she wandered off, maybe she did. And that's why the boys felt bad. I mean, they feel bad anyway, losing their sister. You know, the sister going missing. But it's not my number one theory either. What was that? It's not my number one theory either. I think, to be honest, if she had wandered off in that terrain, I don't think she would have gone further than a mile, and I think she would have been found. I do. I think she would have been found. Maybe not alive, but she would have been found. Because, you know, it's not just the, you know, law enforcement related agencies that have been there. There's been other people. There's been private searches. The PIs have done a lot of searching. EquiSearch went there, didn't they? And had a bad experience and didn't go back. But I think they went back twice. Dave Rader was part of the original search. Anyway, we'll carry on and play this through. No.
The rugged mountainous terrain continues to cause problems. This has slowed search operations down in these areas, but please be rest assured, while incurring these conditions, we are still searching with an aggressive approach with extreme attention to detail. These terrains and conditions have exhausted crews both physically and mentally. We are still utilizing local and regional resources, but have had to call upon and utilize resources from Middle and West Tennessee, along with out-of-state resources, to bring a fresh set of eyes and rested bodies into the search operations. Search efforts will continue on a more specialized team basis throughout the rest of the week. Just because you may not see us in such a large presence, once again, rest assured, we are still out here searching for summer whales.
She was like 3 foot, 40 pounds. It would be a lot easier for her to get through some of the foliage. She's lower to the ground, smaller body, a lot more flexible.
Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data.
We have gone through reams and reams of data. We've collected statements. We've chased down every credible lead that has been given to us. And we are still not much further along than when we started.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Leslie Earhart, a public information officer for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Before we get started, I want to stress that the investigation into the disappearance of Summer Wells is very much active and ongoing. Please understand, in order to preserve the integrity of the investigation, we simply can't speak to specifics. We appreciate you being here today and your continuing coverage of this case. At approximately 6:30 p.m. on this day, 1 year ago, Summer Wells, who was 5 years old at the time, was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County. When we held the first media briefing on June 16th, honestly, we expected to have good news to report by the time the next media briefing came around. She was last seen outside of her home in the 100 block of Ben Hill Road, which is located in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County. A family member reported her missing to the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office at approximately 6:30 Tuesday evening. Unfortunately, instead, day after day ended in frustration and disappointment. At that time, no one expected that we would still be searching for Summer 1 year later. We've said from the beginning that this case is outside the norm. There are few clues as to what happened to Summer, despite investigators doing everything within their power to find answers. All possibilities are still being explored. Many of you have asked for details about what's been done over the last year. I can tell you agents and detectives have spent thousands of hours on this case. Numerous search warrants have been executed, cell phone data has been analyzed, and any other available digital evidence has been collected, searched, and documented. This includes the social media accounts of those associated with Summer. 3 large ground searches have taken place in the last year with the assistance of more than 100 local, state, and federal agencies. Those searches do not account for the numerous targeted searches done by agents and detectives as they were following up on potential leads. From TBI alone, more than 100 agents, intelligence analysts, and support staff from across the state have been involved in this case. TBI agents working alongside the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and the FBI have conducted nearly 170 interviews during the investigation. That does not count the hundreds of phone calls made to follow up on tips reported to law enforcement.
Okay, so for the rest of the video, I talked a little bit about the footprints. I played the Dave Rader clip about the footprints, and I went through the TBI facts, those questions and answers that they've got on there. But if you want to, you can obviously go and watch that yourself, I guess, if you would like to. I'll answer a few questions and then we'll get into what this cousin said, because it's a new theory. It's a brand new theory. And, you know, I cover everything. You know, I am accused of being a flip-flopper. I've been accused of being a Wells supporter. And I don't mind. I don't mind that. You know, I go through periods where I think, look, Don, Candus, Grandma, the boys, they're all innocent. I do. I think they've behaved terribly on the internet. They're rubbish parents, but they didn't do this. And then I go through periods where I think there's so much that's dodgy. There's so much shady behavior going on. They have to have done something, or at least one of them did. And then I look at everybody else, like I've looked at Jodie Sue. Now, most of the time, I think Jodie Sue didn't do anything. And then just sometimes I think, no, what you've said is shady. You know, and you get yourself into a mindset where you go down a rabbit hole. And I've gone down so many rabbit holes in this case. Because the reason being, because we don't have anything from law enforcement. Like, the reason why I covered law enforcement in that series is to show just how little we have. Because in the press conferences, they said the same thing. Yes, they gave up an update. They did. You know, they gave an update each day. about how far they'd searched and how many searches were involved, how many agents were involved. That's all fine in the initial stages. And then June 15th, 2022, we had Leslie Earhart tell us the same things, pretty much. Yes, she gave us an update on how many agents have been involved. We heard from John Pruitt, the lead detective at Hawkins County, in April. And they'd gone through reams and reams of data. They'd gone through cell phone data, cell tower data, GPS data. Leslie Earhart reiterated that as well. And then they didn't answer any questions. Like they were, that's part of the investigation. We can't answer that. So, as I said before, what are people on social media who are so invested in this case? And I'm not just talking about creators. I'm talking about the people who want answers, the people who have followed this case from day one. And I know there are new people coming in. Like I've had people in my comment section only in the last week saying, I'm new to this case. Like, can someone catch me up kind of thing? And you think, wow, well, we can catch you up in 5 minutes if you want what law enforcement have said. But if you want what everybody said, then I don't know where to start. Just start at the beginning and work your way through. It's mind-boggling. But when you strip it all back and you strip it back to what each person has said, we really don't have very much. And the least information we've got is from law enforcement. And we should have most. The most of the information we've got should be from law enforcement. Rather than Leslie Earhart coming along and saying, oh, social media, don't send in tips. You're wasting our time. And I guess that, if people are ringing in about what a psychic has said or what a tarot card reader has said, yeah, I guess they're considering that a waste of their time. But it also puts people off sending incredible tips as well. Out of the Ashes, thank you for the $2. Thank you for the $2. Right at the beginning of the stream, I think I had a new member. I noticed that when I came in, and then I got distracted by my mother phoning up. So welcome to that person. And Daughter of Scotland, who's been a member for 22 months. Thank you for being a member for that long. You must be one of my oldest members. You must be. Who has a new theory? We're going to get into that. It's Candus's cousin, allegedly. Candus's cousin rang into Dolly Vision last night. So we're going to get into that. But there were a few questions that I wanted to answer, which I probably can't find. I should have starred them, because apparently you can star things on thingy, StreamYard, and I never remember that I can star them. Hold on. There was one about the boys. I can't find it now. There was one about the boys. Well, yes, they were. Yes, they were. And no, Don isn't keeping quiet at all. Don's on. If I tried to find every single channel that Don had been on, even in the last 2 weeks, I don't think I'd find them all. I really don't think I'd find them all. He's everywhere. Wherever you turn, he's there. There was a question, I can't find it now, about, are the boys allowed to come home? Apparently they don't want to. That's what we've heard from Don. Obviously, we're not going to hear from the boys, and we're not going to hear from the CPS, because quite rightly, they are minors, and quite rightly, their welfare is in the hands of the CPS, and apparently, according to Don, they're doing well, and they don't want to come home. Who can blame them? Who can blame them? But yeah, Yvonne T, member for 7 months. Thank you. Josh said Don is not the same as he used to be. No, he's not. interview I saw with Don was, let me think, Prairie Boy 77. Is that his name? Don was on there, and I just think he sounds broken. I mean, really broken. And when he's like that, you just feel, you know, you're compelled to say, look, he didn't have anything to do with this, and he's just utterly broken. But then you can turn it around and say, maybe he's guilty, feeling guilty. But I don't know. I'm inclined to say Don didn't have anything to do with it. But if you ask me tomorrow, I might have changed my mind. I just don't know. And that's why I'm prepared to listen to every theory. And no, I don't talk about every theory, every rabbit hole that I've gone down. But this one I am going to talk about because it's just happened in the last few hours. The roof theory. Let's talk a little bit about the roof theory, because that's a new one as well. Yeah. I don't think the drug and alcohol consumption is doing anything at all for their mental health, at all. Yeah, it is. It's broken in my country as well. But, you know, apparently, according to Don, the boys are doing well. Where's the roof theory? Can't find it on StreamYard. It's annoying. All right, I'll do it on here. Roof theory. Don said it was the first time Summer asked to go up onto the roof. He said she went up there to see the view. Are we to believe that Summer had not been up there before or even asked? Well, I don't know. Maybe, you know, it's the first time that, I don't know. But for those who didn't hear this story, Don, what channel was he on? I don't even remember what channel he was on, but he said that on June 14th, so the day before she disappeared, Summer had asked to go on the roof because they go up there. So I guess if she's seen Don and the boys go up there, and you know, she's always been a little bit scared to go up herself. Maybe she was getting a little bit older, and maybe she was getting a little bit more curious, and maybe she did ask to go up there. It's perfectly possible. Like, you know, there's a first time for everything, isn't there? And Don said that the boys went up there with her, and he told her to stay away from the edge. And, you know, and I thought, well, possible that she went up there on her own and fell off. You know, the day after, presumably they use a ladder to get up onto the roof. And maybe if the ladder was still there, you know, the ladder was still propped up against the wall, maybe she went up there on her own and fell off. I don't favour the accident theory. There's been lots of accident theories. I don't favour it. It's not my number one. It's never been my number one. But I could see how falling off a roof and dying would be something that parents would maybe cover up. Mommy of hamsters, member for 10 months. I believe that Summer is safely kept in Arkansas. Okay. I mean, I hope so. I really hope that, you know, the people who say that she was adopted by somebody who was, you know, saw her situation and wanted to help. I hope so. It's not my favourite theory. It's not my number one. It's probably not even in my top 5. However, it's the most favourable one, isn't it? Because it means she's alive and well. I like to think of her as alive and well. But I'd need to have a lot of persuasion as to who's got her. I mean, if she is alive and well somewhere, she's 5, or she was 5, 7 now. So she'd remember her old life. You know, like if a baby, let's say 2 years and under, is kidnapped by somebody who yearns for a child, and they take them and they give them a really good life. I mean, that case recently, the woman in her 50s was reunited with her birth parents. What was her name? It was within the last, I say, 3 or 4 months, that she was abducted when she was a toddler. And she'd been living for like 50 years in the same town. And it was only when a member of the family did, a DNA test, one of these ancestry tests, that they found her. They found each other, and she was reunited with the birth parents, and she'd been living in the same town. But when a 5-year-old, she'd remember her old life. And so they'd have to basically program her not to tell anyone about her old life. So that's why I think that they'd have to take her somewhere where she'd never be recognized, and any story that she might tell about her old life wouldn't give any suspicion that this might be Summer Wells. That's just my opinion. If she was younger, a lot 2 or under, I probably would be more favorable to it, because I could see how it could happen, and how that child could grow up not knowing anything about their birth family. But at 5, I think it's a little bit old. Mississippi Girl, member for 17 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lola, isn't your theory Summer and the boys were playing outside, hide and go seek? She wandered off too far. No, it's not. One of my main theories, if you want to say that, is that she wandered off the hill, but not too far. She wandered off the hill, maybe down to the creek or down to Ben Hill Road, and then she was abducted by an opportunist who's someone who knew that family, so someone in the immediate area. That's why I focused on Don Sherfy Jr. for so long. But her wandering away, getting lost and perishing, I just think she would have been found. I really do, because the searchers threw everything at it. In the first 2 weeks, they threw everything at it. I just think she would have been found. But at the same time, we don't know. We just don't know. But I don't even know whether my number one theory is that she was abducted. But I don't know. I just don't know what my number one theory is. I can see that there are several that are viable. I can see that, yes, that certain types of accident they might want to cover up, like falling off a roof. I could see that, because they just had involvement with the CPS. They might want to cover that up because they're terrified that they'd have their other kids taken off them. Or they'd face charges. I do think Candus was away, though. I don't think the planting flowers timeline is true. I'm not saying that they didn't plant flowers. They may have done. I do think she made it home. I don't know whether the planting flowers story is a complete fabrication or whether they did that. But looking at those couple of pots that they planted those cacti in, that's not going to take more than 10 minutes, surely, 10, 15 minutes. So what did they do for the other 3 hours? My big issue is the 3-hour timeline. So if Summer did wander away and got abducted, I think it was way earlier than 10 minutes. Because in the dispatch call, which I played right at the beginning of, I played it at the beginning of the video that I showed you, it said that she's been missing for about 10 minutes. So that dispatch call was like 6:30, but the 911 calls, which have never been released, which is concerning. Why have they never released the 911 calls? But they've never been released. They were 6:23, 6:26. So if she'd been missing 10 minutes, what? She's been missing for 6:10, 6:15. No. Because if she'd been missing 10 minutes, then they definitely would have found her. Because how far can a 5-year-old get in 10 minutes? Not very far. They'd have found her. I mean, all right, they might, you know, the searchers didn't get there till about 7, but still. But no, the timeline does not make sense. And that's why I still have, particularly Candus, not so much Dawn, but particularly Candus, I have her as still on my high on my suspect list because I can't make that timeline make sense. And if a timeline does not make sense, then there's something else that went on that afternoon that Candus isn't saying. Something else went on. Either it could be as little as Candus fell asleep. It could be as little as Candus just popped out for 10 minutes. It could be as little as that. And that's what she's covering up. Or it could be something more nefarious that she's covering up. But make that timeline make sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. Elise, member for 4 months. Greatly appreciate the series. Well, I was going through all the old stuff, so I thought, you know what, I might as well make these into videos. There was a question earlier on about the Amber Alert. The Amber Alert, why is there an Amber Alert if she wandered off? Because in Tennessee, the Amber Alert criteria aren't as strict as it is in some states. And if a child is in immediate danger of serious injury or death, then they get an Amber Alert. In some states, they have to have like a person that they know, you know, a description or a vehicle description. Not so in Tennessee. So, yeah, exactly was. The TBI won't discuss the timeline either. Exactly. Canadian Cookie, the scream that JSB allegedly heard was unfounded, right? That's what Sheriff Ronnie Lawson said. He told, was it Brian Entin? He told that the scream was unfounded. Or was it? No, I think it was Ansley Daniel. I think it was one of her interviews. He said that the scream was unfounded, but what that means is that they couldn't find anyone else to verify it. You know, no one else heard it apart from Jodie Sue and her kids. So if it's something that they can't verify, they can't use it as a piece of evidence if it can't be verified. So for me, you know, I think if Jodie Sue is completely innocent, I think maybe she did hear something. Is it Summer screaming though, is the question, because it could be something else. Lip locked, you might have a point there. Amongst other reasons, 911 calls contain the voice and perhaps background noises or voices of the call or other than Dawn, which I don't believe was Candus. Well, Dawn and Candus made, I see what you're saying, that there might be other voices in the background, but Dawn made his call when he was driving home, because he was still in Washington County, because he was sent to Washington County Dispatch, and then they had to connect him to Hawkins. I remember him telling that story. And then Candus allegedly called from home. So you would think that on Candus's call, you'd probably hear the boys. Like you'd hear them shouting for Summer, surely. Because in Grandma's interview with Ansley Daniels, she said she was at the top of the hill. You know, when I did Grandma's episode, I put this old woman with an assault rifle on top of 110 Ben Hill Road, on top of the house. You know, I just got this visions of Grandma standing on top of the hill while the boys went to search the creek. And, you know, she said, I hope to God that they're not abducted too. Why? Why does she hope to God they're not abducted? How is she going to stop it? Right, grandma with her dodgy knee. If the boys were abducted, how is she going to stop it? She's going to start. She's going to act as the sniper. Go on, lads, I've got you covered. Come on now. She didn't say that, surely. But on Candus's call, you should be able to hear them shouting for Summer. You should. So you've got a point there. If Don and Candus are no longer staying on Ben Hill, do we know why? But yeah, we do know why. Well, at least we know what Don has said, that he can't get work in East Tennessee because of the YouTubers. So he's working in Arkansas with the old company he used to work for. Okay, Elise, maybe it's not dodgy then. State laws differ with emergency calls. I believe Tennessee's are confidential. Okay, that will explain it then. Like if they don't release any 911 calls, then that explains it. But if anybody can find me a Tennessee 911 call that has been released before a case has been solved, then I'll go back to thinking that there's something funny about it. The "it's done" message that Hunter allegedly saw on Candus's phone could have been related to the polygraph if the Wells were supposed to take it that day. Okay. It's done. Well, no. Because if Andy had texted her, because apparently this text conversation was between Andy, her drug dealer, and Candus. The first polygraph she had, she couldn't take it because she was so upset. She had to go back a few days later. So really, if that message was related to the polygraph, it should have said, I couldn't do it. Because Hunter allegedly saw that "it's done" text message on the 17th. So if she'd been on the 16th to do the polygraph that she couldn't do, and she texted Andy about the polygraph, it should have read, I couldn't do it, or it couldn't be done. I need to go back next week or in a few days. How do we explain Don's strange mood the day before? Seems a coincidence to me. We've only got Dudley. Saying that Don was in a strange mood. And quite frankly, I wouldn't believe Dudley if my life depended on it. I don't believe that man. I just don't believe him. Lisa, member for 6 months. Parents not searching sticks with me. I think Donna's searched. I know Donna's been on some private searches. I mean, I'd have ripped that entire mountain to shreds by now. I'd have gone over all of that mountain. I don't care if I was trespassing. You know, what's the worst they can do? Threaten me with a gun and tell me to get lost? Yes. But they'd have to see me first, because I'd be out there in all weathers, all day, all night. I would be out there. I'd have turned that mountain into a barren land by now with my bare hands if it was someone that I knew who I thought was out on that mountain somewhere on their own, let alone my own 5-year-old daughter. I'd have done it for anybody that I knew. I'd have torn that mountain to shreds. I'd have been that confident that that person was not on that entire mountain if it took me 2 years to do it. But not everybody has that same, you know, some people don't want to search because they're scared of actually finding their body. And actually, certainly, you know, police will advise parents not to search for that reason. I mean, obviously they can't stop you, but there is that kind of mindset from law enforcement that they don't want parents out there searching because of them potentially finding the body. All right, we're going to play this Dolly Vision. So Hold on. I'll come back to questions in a bit, but let's play this television. So this was, I've got too many windows open. Hold on a minute. Just let me get rid of a few of them. There we are. It's better. All right. So this is television. This was, when was this? 13 hours ago. I don't sub to television because I don't really watch him. I watch occasionally if YouTube recommends, and it just so recommended. Now, this is allegedly a cousin of Candus. Thank you, Trixie Star, for putting the copyright up. This is fair use. I am going to be stopping it and commentating, and I'm also going to be showing you a couple of news articles that I found. And then we'll take a look at what she said on Ziggy's as well. All right, I had this on 175 speed, so we'll move it. I can understand stuff on 1.75 speed. When I put it on 2 times speed, it's a bit too fast. But 1.75, I can bear it. But we're putting on 1.25. It's almost normal. We love fair use. Yeah, so Dolly, don't strike me. But this is fair use. All right. I'm actually going to share this in a different way so that I don't have to keep muting out. Give me 1 second. Okay. I don't have to keep muting out then. It should be okay if I do it like that. I'm just checking that you can see it. Yeah, you can. I mean, you don't really need to see it because she was on the phone. So this is allegedly Candus's cousin. All right. Is your name just cousin? No audio. Oh no, hold on. All right, maybe I can't do it that way then. Sorry. I know what I'll need to do. I'll just share my entire screen. That sorts out all audio problems. That does. Sorry about that. You've not missed anything. Hold on. My entire screen. All right, we'll just share the whole screen. Right, you should be able to hear it now. So all you've missed is her saying that she's Candus's cousin. She talked a little bit about Rose was missing, and Dolly said, "Are you kin?" And she said, "Yes, I'm a cousin," but she wouldn't give a name. So this is where we're at. So let me know if the sound's okay now. So you're still not hearing it? You can hear me though, right? All right. Hold on. That's weird. Let's look in the audio section. Default audio. Hold on. We'll try that. All right. Let me know now. Can you hear this? Still can't hear it. That's bizarre. That is really bizarre. Hold on. I'll come out of that. That is bizarre, because normally if I share my entire screen, can you hear that? Did you hear that? Screen looks frozen. Huh. Huh. How bizarre. So you heard that? Right, that was doing a test. So you heard that. All right. All right. We might be okay now if I just reshare. How weird. How odd. Right. You heard the song. That's just StreamYard's audio test. The audio test. All right, so you heard that. So, right, going to start playing this again. Let me know if you can hear it. Still can't hear Dolly. Okay. Right. Well, I'll have to do it. The sharing Chrome, and then I'll probably have to keep muting out. How weird is that? That is bizarre. All right. We'll do it there. We'll do it this way. Right. Can you hear this? Now, there might be an echo, but it's just a test. Can you hear this?
No, listen.
First step.
Look up a dude named Spider. Okay.
All right.
He was arrested at 2:00 in the morning the day Summer went missing.
Okay.
And he was in a drug deal. Okay. He was arrested a few miles down from their house, right in Rogersville, Tennessee.
Hey, we got a yes. Right. That's great. Next question. Is there an echo? Because if there's an echo, then I'll have to mute out. There's no echo. That is bizarre. Bizarro. That is so bizarre. I don't know what on earth is going on. No echo. Great. That's fine. Normally, if you share just the Chrome tab, you get an echo, and then you've got to mute back out. Great. Right. So I'll just go back a shade, because she starts talking about someone called Spider. Very low volume. It was quite low volume. I've got YouTube turned up as high as I can. So it is quite low. Like her on the phone is quite low volume. Volume's a little low. It's as high as I can make it. It's as high on my computer, and it's as high on I can turn. Oh no, it's already turned on. I was going to say I've got a boom audio, but that's on. Yeah, Spider was 15th of July. We're getting there. We're getting there. Right, so we want to listen to what she says first. All right. So we'll take it back to there.
Over here. You got two kids missing from the same mom. But the word on the street, because we still have kin there, the word on the street, this Summer was not the intended target there. This has nothing to do with them.
So somebody wanted to kidnap somebody, but they didn't want to kidnap Summer. But when they got there,
no. Let me lay it down for you. Okay, you can investigate this too. You can, as I speak.
Okay, I'm gonna look up see if they have a cousin named Cuz first. That's gonna be
listen.
First step.
Look up a dude named Spider. Okay.
All right.
He was arrested at 2:00 in the morning the day Summer went missing.
Was he though? Because no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. So we've got someone called Spider. She doesn't give him a last name, but we know his last name. So apparently Spider was arrested at 2 a.m. on the day Summer went missing. The word on the street, yeah. The word on the street is someone called Spider, who was arrested at 2 a.m. on the day Summer went missing, is the key to all of this. This is the key to all of this, right? But Summer wasn't the intended target. So who's Spider? Well, this is Spider. This is Spider. Doesn't he look like a nice chap? Yes, he does. Wouldn't you just want to meet him in a dark alley? No, you wouldn't. But this is Spider. Stephen Lee Spider Blake. And I know that Ziggy also found him. Why is there all these? This is from WJHL.com. So Hawkins County detectives arrested a man on meth trafficking and felony gun charges after a tipster stated a man known only as Spider would be waiting with the drugs in Rogersville. Yes, he does look scary. So Hawkins County Sheriff's Office Detective Zachary England states in his report that in response to the tip, he, Detective Scott Stewart and Detective Reba Matthews located Spider and gives his address, walking down Ebbing and Flowing Springs Road near East Main Street on July 15th, shortly after 2 a.m. Do we see a problem with this? Is he single? Do you like the mean boy? Do you like the mean boy type? The volume on the video is up. Yes, it is up. I'm afraid there's nothing I can do about it. I've even got my boom on. I've even got my boom audio on. So there's not a lot I can do. I've got the YouTube as high as I can, and I've got my computer as high as I can. But I'm going to keep stopping it and talking through it anyway. So I'll reiterate. Exactly. It's a month wrong. So if Spider is the key to all of this, Spider's drug problem or drug associations are the key to all of this, how come Summer went missing a month before? How does that work? So Blake admitted to the detectives that there was marijuana in his backpack and a baggie containing 13 grams of pot. Look, guys, 13 grams of pot isn't that much, is it? Not that much, is it? I mean, in the UK, pot's illegal, but if you're caught with a small amount, like personal use amount, they don't charge you. 13 grams isn't that much. I mean, probably in the UK, probably you might get a charge on it because 13 grams personal use, maybe not. But anyway, when deputies attempted to detain Blake, however, he stated he had meth in his front pants pocket. He then handed officers a small case containing 11 various baggies containing a clear crystal-like substance believed to be 7 grams total of methamphetamine. So 7 grams of meth and 13 grams of pot in his backpack and in his pockets. So to me, this doesn't sound like some kind of drug baron. This doesn't sound like a major drug baron who would kill a kid because they've been, you know, a tip had come in about them. But he also had a gun, and he's a convicted felon in Maryland, Florida, and Arkansas. So I guess they got him on the gun charge because he's a felon. All right, so we're a month wrong. So that's a problem to start with. All right, let's get back to cuz. No, it's not really a lot, is it? 13 grams. I mean, it's probably slightly more than what you deem personal use. And then you've got 7 grams of meth. I mean, yeah, it deserves a charge, but for me, this isn't a major drug baron. This isn't the Mexican cartel, is it? You know, I've been watching. Has anybody seen Ozark on Netflix? I've been watching Ozark. I'm right at the end of the season 3 of Ozark. That's all about the Mexican drug cartel. Now they'd kill your kid if you got in the way. They'd kill your kid, but they're dealing in many kilos of drugs and millions of dollars worth. And this is a Netflix show, not real life. But for 7 grams of meth and 13 grams of pot, I'm not seeing a major drug baron here. Ozark is not far off. Well, it's the same with the Sicilian mafia. It's the same with the Sicilian mafia. They don't tend to target children, though, the Sicilians. They don't tend to. Ozark was frightening. Yeah. I love it. I'm addicted to it. I've watched almost 3 seasons in about three or 4 days. No, a bit longer. Been watching it a few days now. 16 grams in an ounce. Yeah, so it's not even an ounce. It's not even an ounce, is it? So not even 1 ounce of, like, the normal use kind of sale of pot is an 1/8. Like buy an 1/8 or a Henry. Buy a Henry. So an 1/8 is a half an ounce. Ozark is a great series, yeah. Oh, it's 28 grams in an ounce. All right. So 28 grams in an ounce. So 30 grams isn't even half an ounce. Cornbread Mafia deals with pot, not heavy drugs. Yeah, but this dude's not even in the Cornbread Mafia. Henry. Henry VIII. So an 1/8, if you want an 1/8, you say, can I have a Henry? So he had half an ounce. So he had nearly 2 Henrys. So he had nearly 2 Henrys. So an 1/8 is half a quarter ounce. It's not very much, is it? So he had 2, not even quite 2 Henrys. And then he had 7 grams of meth. I don't work in ounces, so I'm just believing what people are telling me. 28 grams. 3.5. What's 3.5 grams? Neck tattoos indicate possible gang membership. Well, they might just indicate that you have a strange kind of sense of... No, a Henry isn't. A Henry's just tiny. If you're caught with a Henry in the UK, you're just told to get on your way. So that's why people buy Henrys. Because you can walk about with a Henry and the police aren't going to care. Seven grams of meth, people have done worse for less. Really? How much is an Elizabeth? All right, let's carry on with this. Let's carry on. People who are saying there's no sound, just fast forward a couple of minutes. We got there. We've got sound back. We got there in the end. Meth destroys empathy. I'm sure it does. Or a Philip. Or a Charles. Well, you got Charlie, haven't you? You know, get a few grams of Charlie. So Henry sounds like a pet mouse you might have in your pocket. Right, we're carrying on with this. Okay, so Summer wasn't the intended target, and Spider was arrested at 2:30. the day Summer disappeared, when actually it was a month later. So she's wrong on that.
Okay.
And he was in a drug deal. Okay. He was arrested a few miles down from their house, right in Rogersville, Tennessee. He was meeting three people from Virginia. They were coming up. Okay. And somebody called him an anonymous tip, and he was busted. It wasn't the Wells that called him in, but the people they were hanging out with called him in. You can look this up. His name's Steven, and he goes by Spider.
Well, we did look it up. It's here. We did look it up. It's right here. It's the first thing I did. I went to find Spider in Rogersville. So I put Spider, drugs, Rogersville, and got this. And it's a month wrong. And Ziggy also got it as well. Ziggy got the same article. So his name is Stephen Lee Blake, and he was arrested on 15th of July, 2021. She's right about the time. So he's apparently going to meet these guys from West Virginia. So what's he doing walking to West Virginia? What's he doing? Because he was caught walking with 13 grams of pot in a backpack and 7 grams of meth in his pocket. Hot. So he's going to walk, right? He's taking this pile of drugs. He's taking all of that to West Virginia walking. It makes sense. It makes total sense. Okay, right. Got you. Right, got you.
June 15th. You look this up. I'm telling you the truth. They bust Spider.
Okay, his name is Steven, though.
Yeah.
And he was arrested June 15th.
Yep.
Of last
at
year.
2 o'clock in the morning. No.
2 years ago.
2021. The day Summer went missing. I'm telling
Okay.
you. Listen to me. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, you might be telling your truth, but I'm sorry, cuz you're wrong by a month. Herein lies the problem. You're wrong by a month. But it goes where it gets more. West Virginia or Western Virginia. It could be Western Virginia, which isn't very far, is it? It could be Western Virginia, yes. In which case, yes, it's probably walkable. It would be a longish walk, but it's walkable. To take all of this pile of drugs to meet your mates. But yeah.
This is just like crazy. Nobody's listening to us. He was busted. He was meeting people from Virginia, okay? A carload of 3 people. An anonymous tip called in, Spider had drugs on him. They busted him that morning. They were pissed off because it was intercepted, okay?
So these 13 grams of pot and 7 grams of meth was intercepted because an anonymous tip came in. So the cops were, alerted to the fact that there's this major drug lord on his way to Virginia, going to meet these guys in a car, and they busted him. So they've now got to steal a kid to, cut their losses.
And it came back to 110 Ben Hill Road, but it was not the Wells who called it in. It was the Crawfords.
So it was the Crawfords who called this tip in. Who's the lady that's speaking? Allegedly, she's Candus's cousin. Alleged. Candus's cousin. So the Crawfords called in the tip. So how does she know who called in the tip? How does she know that the Crawfords called in the tip? How does she know that? I'm going to wait because there's no way she would have known who reported that tip unless she knew the Crawfords. I guess if she knew the Crawfords and they told her that they called in a tip to intercept a drugs lord on his way to Virginia walking with a backpack.
And all of a sudden, Ricky gets killed the next day. I'm telling you, this is
which dude is Ricky?
Truth. Ricky's Marlena's brother.
Marlena is the one that's living in the homeless camp or whatever, right?
No, I don't know where the fuck the bitch is now. I'd like to know, but I don't know because she wouldn't be there. No, she's all, it comes down to the Crawfords. I'm telling you right now, listen to me. The
Right, so it's the Crawfords. Ricky Crawford isn't dead, though. Now, the little bit of that I heard on Ziggy, because I was just starting to listen to her on Ziggy, and she said she was wrong about Ricky Crawford being dead. Ricky Crawford is not dead. He's very much alive. If you want to know who Ricky Crawford is, he's this guy. Okay. So we've got this. Hawkins County drug gun bust nets 4. This is from April of this year. This is WJHL. The other one, I think I said the other one was WJHL. It wasn't. That was Times News. This is WJHL. So, multi-agency drug and firearms investigation has led to charges against several people in Hawkins County. According to the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, a search warrant was executed at the home of Harry Richmond and Jimmy Ray Wallen. 4 people were arrested following the search. So Harry Richmond, Jimmy Ray Warren, Ricky Dale Crawford, and Clester Ann Taylor. So have we got a picture of these guys? I thought there was a picture of them. Sure, I thought there was a picture of them. Obviously not. Maybe it was the other article. But yeah, so Ricky Crawford is not dead. Yes, Marlena was staying with the Wells. She was staying with the Wells, yeah. Or she spent a lot of time there. I don't know whether officially she was living there. Marlena is a friend of Candus's. She has a little girl who's around the same age, maybe a little bit older than Summer. There's a picture of Marlena's daughter and Summer, only probably a few days before Summer disappeared. And there was, Marlena wasn't happy about that picture doing the rounds on the internet. So I've never shown it on my channel, but it's out there. There's Summer with a little girl, and they're both kind of dressed up as, I think they're dressed up as old ladies or something. And that's who Marlena is. So Dawn got sick of Marlena leaving her little girl with them. I think Marlena was like going out drinking and doing drugs and just leaving her little girl with the Wells. So there is that close association between Marlena Crawford and the Wells. So it's believable. It is believable that they'd get, if they wanted to target Marlena, and they wanted to steal Marlena's child, that they'd go to 110 Ben Hill. That part of it makes sense to me. Yeah, it seems she confused Ricky with Earl Taylor. Yeah, I think she had. Yeah, she did clarify it. She did. So I'll forgive her that one. But Ricky was very much alive. He was busted in April. He's in jail now, I think. And that's Marlena's brother.
Crawfords were the intended target. It was not the Wells. And in our hearts and souls, we believe with every fiber.
Yeah, but did they have a daughter?
Journey. Her name's Journey.
Okay.
They sure did.
So these people that busted on Spider, that you saying this is a retaliation, and some people have
showed. That's exactly what I'm saying. And the people that did it are in Rowan Mountain, Tennessee. And we turned this into the TBI, and nobody's listening to us. He puts on his Facebook, keeping stock and steal their children, and he's all into like this Joshua lies called the Isaiah House. He said we steal their kids and homeschool them, and this guy's freaking nuts out of his mind on drugs because he's a drug dealer.
Well, people are saying Ricky Crawford is still alive, but I 100% believe the Crawfords are involved.
He's dead. He got drowned. Nope, he's not. He's dead. Nope.
Yeah, it was Earl Taylor. Earl Taylor drowned, and he's a relative of the Crawfords. I'm not sure what relationship he is, but he drowned. He was found dead in a creek. So he was found dead the same week that Summer went missing. So that bit's true. So I think she's just got it confused. So I'm giving her that. I'm giving her that she just got confused about a relative of the Crawfords. was found dead. How is it retaliation if the arrest? Yeah, exactly, Jackie. How is it retaliation if the arrest happened afterwards? Exactly. That makes sense. That doesn't make sense, does it? So that's my big problem with this, that the dates don't match up.
Killed him. He's dead. He's killed.
So
I'm telling you right now, that man.
And also, we don't know if anybody did kill Earl Taylor. He was found in a creek. Now, whether someone had drowned him or whether he fell in like a complete drug-addled state, having consumed 13 grams of weed and 7 grams of meth, who knows? Who knows? But he was found dead. We don't know if he was murdered, though. But it's not related to, presumably not related to Summer in any way, other than he's a relative of the Crawfords. You could do a soap opera about all of this, couldn't you? You could really do a really good soap opera, a really good Netflix series on all of this. Somebody should write it. It'd be a bestseller. You know, call it Beach Creek. That's right. Ricky Crawford Sr. died, yeah. He died in 2022. But she did come on Ziggy's and clarify that she got it wrong. It was the other guy. So it's Marlena's father, Ricky Sr., died. Someone write it before Tim Mullen does. Maybe that's what Tim Mullen's doing. Maybe that's what he's spending his time doing. He's writing a best-selling Netflix series about the Beach Creekers. Let's call it the Beach Creekers. Leslie died, Jose died, Crawford died. People do die, though. I mean, you know, people do die. He's busy writing.
Good.
So you're saying this? They done went and got Summer because of this drug he got ratted on, snitching.
Brad Pitt to play Don Wells. Beach tweakers. Oh dear. Oh dear. Did Jose that live with Candus OD? Don't know how he died. Like officially, we don't know how he died. But he did die. He did die. We don't know how. Well, at least certainly I don't know how. It's not been officially released as far as I know. No, it's Ricky Crawford Sr., their dad. I mean, he might go by Ray. Who knows? They go by various names. Beach Tweakers. That's funny, that. Do you know his last name? Spider. Yes, it's Blake. Spider Blake. His name's Stephen. Yes, Jose died. Yes. He did die.
It wasn't them, though.
Yeah, but it was
wasn't-
mistaken. They came there thinking it was the Crawfords, and they ended up getting Summer, is what you're saying.
Honest to God, that's what we believe. And the only way it makes sense, if you listen to me, is her timeline is a lie. That's a big fat lie. But the Wells, I'm telling you, Donnie and Candus are innocent.
Oh, Jose's last name, Roman. Or Roman. Roman. I heard he was found in a tent overdosed. I hadn't heard that, but I've heard several versions of how he died, and I don't know. Apparently Leslie died as well, yeah. Apparently. Kathy Burke to play Candus. Actually, Kathy Burke could do a good job. Journey had long dark hair, though. Yeah, but if they were just going to go and steal a kid, they probably wouldn't really care what she looked like. They'd just see a small girl and thought, that's her. Assuming that this is true, I don't believe this version of events. Personally, I'd need a lot more convincing. But who knows? You know, I cover everything. I try to I tried to find evidence for this, and I did find the guy that she's talking about, but unfortunately he was arrested a month after Summer disappeared. As the holler turns, that's a good one as well. Leslie is who? Leslie is Ali's friend. So do you remember when Chris McDonough interviewed Ali and great grandma? Leslie was the woman, the other woman. She Ali's friend. I think Teresa from Unmasked also interviewed Leslie. Yeah, the death certificate for Jose hasn't been released by the family, no. I don't think Dolly's believing her either, just by the sounds of it. I don't think he's believing her. I don't know what happened to Leslie. And to be honest, I've never looked into it. Never looked into it.
As can be. They didn't do it. This is like, if you look at their timeline, her timeline doesn't make sense because it's not true. Her timeline, she left the home, and grandma, or you can call her Grandis or whatever the fuck you want, we call her Candy. Candy was there, and she was sleeping, and the boys were supposed to be in charge of the home, and Candus left.
Where did Candus go?
Well, you want to know the truth? She went to take Hunter home. She was taking Hunter home. She was there with Hunter, and she wasn't supposed to be there with Hunter.
So you're saying when Allie says that Summer was in the car when she brought Hunter home?
Oh, Allie, no,
that's a lie.
Lied. No, and then if you go back and look on YouTube, she already admitted that was a lie. That was a big fat lie. She's a big fat liar. She was.
I don't. Right. So I can very well believe that Candus left to go somewhere, and that's when Summer disappeared. I can really believe that. However, I can't believe that she was taking Hunter home, because that would have meant that Hunter would have had to come all the way back to Ben Hill with them to go all the way back. Now, it's not far. It's in like half an hour. So wouldn't the TBI have worked that out? I mean, yes, that will add an hour. So if they get home at, let's say, 3:30, let's just say. So what's he doing there for such a short space of time to go all the way back? Because Candus has got to take him home and then come back. So that's an hour, half an hour there, half an hour back. So in that time that Candus is away, Summer is stolen by this drug gang in retaliation. How would they know that Candus had gone taking Hunter home? How would they know to go at that time? Yeah, Hunter was dropped off after they left the swimming hole. And the TBI have never said otherwise. No, the TBI don't want to talk about the timeline. This is the problem. This is going back to what I said at the beginning. The reason there's so many of these theories still circulating nearly 2 years later is that the TBI have not given us anything. They've not given us they've given us nothing. You know, if they'd have come along and said, right, these people are cleared, we have cleared them, we've done a thorough investigation and we've cleared them, that would surely go somewhere to stop at least some of it. Or am I being really naive here? We can't rule any theory out. Yeah, exactly, because the TBI have given us nothing. But yes, it's absolutely, she's right that the timeline that Candus has given doesn't make sense. But it also means that this Hunter timeline doesn't make sense. They could stop a lot of the rumours. They could stop. And it doesn't compromise the investigation. Like if they've cleared some people, they're confident that certain people have been cleared. That doesn't compromise the investigation because they're cleared. Maybe she did take him home, just not when she said she did. But they've got, that would mean then that Hunter's phone, because they've got Hunter's phone, it would have meant that Hunter's phone made it all the way back to Beech Creek and then went all the way back. Now, Candus might have left her phone, I guess. She could have left her phone at home as to it not ping anywhere. But it would have meant that Hunter's would have. Unless she took Hunter home to leave his phone there so his phone wouldn't ping. I mean, come on, it's stretching. It's a stretch. It's a stretch. Exactly. No official information means plenty of suspicion and lots of conspiracy theories. Yes, because human beings are naturally curious creatures. A lot of people are invested in Summer. They want to know what happened to Summer. And when you've got nothing, then all we've got is theories to fill the void. And some of the theories have got so wild because the basics are still under question. And the basics should have been clarified and could have been clarified by the TBI by now, and done nothing to compromise the investigation. Exactly. Thank you, Liplock. TBI has Hunter's phone. They know exactly where he went on June 15th. They absolutely do. So this is another thing I don't believe. I'm prepared to believe that Candus did leave. And therefore Candus didn't really know where Summer was. And she had to then ask the boys where Summer was. Because they were tasked with looking after her. And then when she came back, you know, Summer was missing. And she were, you know, that's when she had to invent some kind of story. But I don't believe that Hunter made it to Ben Hill to go all the way back, because the TBI would know about that. So anyway, I don't know how much more of this I'm going to play. I'll get to the 4 other people she mentions, and then we'll get on to Ziggy's, because she does give a little bit of clarification on Ziggy's, the little bit that I heard.
It was like not following Hunter's probation at all. She let him do whatever the fuck he wanted to do with Candus and whoever he wanted to do it with. She didn't give a shit. She was too fat and lazy, sleeping in her bed, on the toilet, whatever the hell she was doing, but she wasn't watching her kid. I'm telling you, that was a lie. So what happened is she was taking Hunter home, and so her timeline is screwed up, and when she says she don't want to talk about it because, oh, I already told the TBA, everybody knows if I tell it, this was the perpetrator. Fuck that. No. You don't want to tell the truth.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if Candus is completely innocent, like you're saying, then why all the fuck shit? Why all the
Well, let me tell you why. But it's going to come out now. Let me tell you why. It's about ready to come out. Let me tell you why. Because she was afraid to lose her boys, but now the boys don't want to come home. So Candus has nothing else to lose, right? It's going to come out. Let me tell you the truth. It's coming out. You guys all watch. It's coming out. Candus lied about the timeline, and she was scared. But now she has nothing else to lose. And Don, the guilt is eating them up alive, and they're coming out. They had nothing to do with this little baby going missing. It's not them. It's not them. And we've already turned these people into the TBI over and over, and nobody's listening. And we keep sending like video proof and proof. This is not them. They didn't do it.
So what video proof would there be? What video proof would there be that Don and Candus didn't do it, that the TBI could be sent? That doesn't make any sense. I can understand them knowing something, like they didn't do it, but they knew who did, and they can't say. I can understand that. I can get that. But this cousin sending in video evidence to the TBI to be ignored, how does she have that video evidence? How does she have that video proof? And why has it taken her nearly 2 years to come and give this new theory to somebody? Now, I don't think I'm going to get that far into the conversation. She was on about half an hour, I think. But I'm not going to play the whole thing. If you want to go over and listen to Dolly's, then please do. It starts, she comes on at about 53 minutes into the live, and then she's on for about half an hour. But I just don't, I'm just not buying it. I'm just not buying it. Why she waited nearly 2 years to come forward? I think because he's sitting too close to the pot jar. Yeah.
It's not them. It's the Crawfords. They need to look closer, and they need to look at these people that we're sending, like the crew. This guy like has pictures of like keeping them stuck and stealing their babies. Like he talks about this code and all this weird shit. He's talking about the jailhouse code. Like when they go to jail, they write letters and code to each other and shit. This guy, and I don't know how I could put his name out there without getting in trouble. In my opinion, it's Philip. I don't know how to. I'm not.
Yeah, don't worry about his name. Just send it to me in my Facebook.
All right, but he's from Rowan Mountain. I'm telling you. And there's a video of this guy living in the woods and talking about stealing kids and all this bullshit and keeping them like in an Amish school almost, like it's called the Isaiah House. He calls it like this religious house. And I swear to God, our family does not believe that they're guilty. Honest to God, they're not. And we think that these people honestly took Summer and on mistake. It wasn't not the intended target. Marlena's daughter, Journey, was actually, that's why Marlena was freaking out. Summer was not the one that was supposed to be gone. It was supposed to be Journey. And everybody's like, oh, she was gone 2 to 3 minutes. No, she wasn't. She was gone 2 to 3 hours. And that's why.
So what else is Candus lying about, cuz?
I can believe that Candus was gone 2 to 3 hours. I can get that. She can't be gone more than 3 hours, because that completely screws up the timeline, totally. But I'm just not buying that Spider is the person responsible because of retaliation, because he'd not been arrested yet. Are the Wells paying her to say they're innocent? Well, it could be another prank, I guess. It could be. Or it could be that this is just another person who believes what she's saying is true. And I don't know. We've no proof that she's who she says she is, i.e. Candus's cousin.
Said the timeline is wrong, that Allie lied.
That's it. No, that's it. And Allie
so while she was gone, what do you think happened?
She took Hunter home, and they came up on that hill and got that baby. That's honest to God what happened. And if you look at like the FBI evidence and the TBI and the LE evidence, nothing. Why have they not arrested them? Because they didn't do it. And the digital evidence proves it on their phone and their GPS and all that stuff. They did not do this.
And that's fine. I can get that. I can understand that there's nothing in the digital data, there's nothing in the GPS that has implicated the Wells. That's fine. But if they've given the tip to the TBI that they've got evidence that the Crawfords are responsible or the Spider person is responsible, then won't the TBI have gone to giving them at least a visit? I think she's either just a big troll, or she's somebody who believes this theory and she's just got the details wrong. But Summer being taken for retaliation doesn't make sense. Does not make sense, because this Spider dude only had a very small amount of drugs on him when he was arrested, and he was arrested a month later than Summer disappeared.
Is not them. This was done to them, and they're not listening to the people that we think in our hearts did this. And if you look Spider up, I'm telling you, you Google the Times Herald, June 15th, 2021, and look at Stephen's record, Spider, you'll see he was arrested at 2:00 that morning.
Okay, somebody asked, how did the 110 address get?
All right. Again, for those people just coming in, again, hold on, which one is it? This one. Okay. All right, this is Spider. He was arrested at 2 o'clock in the morning, walking along Ebbing and Flowing Springs Road near East Main Street. But it was July the 15th, not June the 15th. And he only had 13 grams of pot and 7 grams of meth. That's all. So he's hardly a big drug lord. He perhaps wants to pretend he is, but didn't have a lot on him. And if he was part of a gang and that dude was arrested with that little amount of drugs on him, they wouldn't have cared that he was arrested because he would have been only a pawn in their game. They wouldn't have cared. They wouldn't have cared that they lost what? I mean, no more than a couple of $100 maybe. I don't know what these things sell for in Tennessee, but it's not a lot. Was Marlena murdered? No, not as far as I know. She rang into Doug and Josh as well, did she? Because she also rang into Ziggy's. I'd not watched any YouTube today. Apart from, I got watching this, Dolly, about an hour before I came live. And then I saw Ziggy had done something. And I caught her on Ziggy as well. So I didn't know she'd gone on to Doug's and Josh's. So she's doing the rounds. Oh, not last night, but previously. Has she? And has she told this story previously? Because this is a story that I'd never heard before. I definitely haven't heard this story before.
Mixed up.
It didn't get mixed up. That was because she was staying there. It did not get mixed up.
So when she called the police on Spider, she called from 110 Ben Hill Road.
No, she didn't call the police on Spider, though. It wasn't her. She didn't do it. She did not call the police.
No, I'm saying
Spider.
Marlena called the police on Spider, right?
No, no. There was an anonymous tip. It was anonymous. Whoever called, what I'm trying to tell you is Spider got the drugs from this dude in Rowan Mountain, okay?
Uh-huh.
And the dude he got the drugs fronted from is the one that had this arranged. It was not the Wells, I'm telling you.
Right. So she said it was the Crawfords that gave the tip. But now she's saying the tip was anonymous, but it wasn't Marlena that sent the tip. So why would they want to steal Marlena's kid if it wasn't her that sent the tip?
And if you look at the son of a bitch online, which we have done, and we've sent it to the TBI, the FBI, the LE, and we're telling them, look at this guy. He's talking about stealing babies. He's talking about being this.
I don't know which guy she's talking about now. I think she's talking about Spider's boss, but I'm not sure. But this guy that she's talking about talks about stealing babies on social media. If you were a real baby stealer, I don't think you'd say that on social media, honestly. I don't think you would. But maybe, you know, as someone who's not a baby stealer, it's difficult for me to say. But I don't think that a real baby stealer would admit that on social media. I'm just saying.
Great drug dealer, blah, 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 and keeping them stuck and stealing their kids.
And you gave all this information to TBI?
We did. And they're not listening. They're not listening to us because they think we're like stupid hillbillies or something. They're not listening. They won't listen. And we're trying to tell them, listen, somebody called in on Spider and it wasn't us. And his people took retaliation on the Wells, trying to get back at the Crawfords. And it wasn't us. It had nothing to do with them.
Yeah, but you think somebody's gonna come because you told them somebody's gonna come take your kid? I mean, that's a little extreme, don't you think? For snitching on somebody?
No. How much do you think that he had on him? How many kilos do you think he had on him?
What, when they busted him?
Yeah, look it up. It's all right there.
All right, we'll look it up. How many kilos did he have on him? We know how many kilos he had on him. Nowhere near a kilo. He had 13 grams of pot and 7 grams of meth. Nowhere near a kilo. So I'm sorry. No, he didn't have kilos and kilos and kilos. You know, some like mafia unit, a major drug gang, didn't lose thousands and thousands of dollars in revenue by this anonymous tipster calling in and busting Spider. They lost a minute amount of drugs. They wouldn't have cared that this dude had been arrested. They certainly wouldn't risk stealing a kid for 13 grams of pot and 7 grams of meth. They wouldn't. Yes, major gangs will. They will take members of your family out in retaliation. But you're talking about people who deal in thousands and thousands and thousands or millions of dollars worth of product. Not a tiny amount that's probably not much more than personal use. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
It's all.
I mean, how many
evidence.
kilos did he have? Just save me the trouble. You can tell me.
No, go ahead. No, look it up. He had guns, he had drugs, he had a backpack full of shit. Not only that, but the people came from.
So he had guns, he had drugs, he had backpacks full of shit. He did have a gun. He had a handgun. So he did. And he had 13 grams of pot and 7 grams of meth. That's it. Personal use.
West Virginia, but he had information on the Isaiah house. He had information on their whole racket that they had going in Rowan Mountain over there.
Mm-hmm.
So he had information on this Isaiah house in the Rowan Mountains. So I don't know what that's all about. I mean, I can't verify whether Spider had that or not, but
I'm telling you, look it up. He's still in freaking jail right now.
So if he's in jail, he couldn't have done it. So, but you're saying his people done it?
Spider didn't take it. No, Spider did not take her. But I'm telling you, the guy that he was working for, he did it. I'm telling you right now, that man Philip did it. And with my whole heart, as I'm sitting here breathing, I swear to.
So it was Spider's boss that stole Summer, thinking that Summer was Marlena's daughter, thinking that Marlena was the one who gave the tip. This is this theory in a nutshell.
God, hand to God, I believe that man did it. Hand to God.
And he did that because of a drug debt, because his drugs got knocked off.
He did it because he was busted, and they had information regarding his operation.
All right, somebody told me to ask you, do you think Summer is alive?
I don't. I honestly, God, don't. You know why? Because I think she was too much of a liability at that point. I think they had to, I think they cut their losses, and I think, I don't want to start crying, but honest to God, I don't think.
So they cut the losses, but it's not a really big loss, is it? It's not a big loss. 13 grams of pot and 7 grams of meth isn't a big loss. So what would they need to cut? Nothing.
Think that they kept her. I think that they got rid of her because they realized that they made a mistake.
Yeah, and I don't know how I would look up Spider because I don't know his last name.
No, I'm going to tell you right now. Hold on.
She didn't tell him. She didn't tell him, which is another issue.
I'll tell you 1 second. Hold on. I got all of it. No, his name.
Or you can just shoot it to me on Facebook, like I said, and I'll look into it.
I've never listened. I don't even know your name. I've never listened to your show before.
Oh, okay. Well, how did you find me?
I just looked up live on YouTube and you popped up.
Oh, okay. And it just happened to be something you knew all about that you have.
So she just happened to call in because she saw him live. She's just going to tell this story to a random person that you don't know, that you don't watch. What?
I'm going to be family with.
Well, no. I just happened to see you were talking about Summer Wells. I'm like,
oh, okay.
Listen.
Okay.
I'm going to look it up right now. I'm going to tell you. June 15th, 2021. I'm doing it right now. Hold on.
Okay.
I know you think I'm nuts, but I'm not. It's in the Times Herald.
Okay, Ziggy's in the room. I got you. She says, look up this article by Newsbreak called 4 Arrested After Large Quantity of Meth.
Yep, that's
Numerous
it.
guns seized from Churchill
Ziggy.
residents.
I love Ziggy. Yep, Ziggy's right. Yep, Ziggy's right. That's it. She's right. I'm telling you.
No, because that article was from 2023, April the 13th, 2023. A multi-agency drug and firearms investigation has led to charges against several people in Hawkins County. Harry Richmond, Jimmy Ray Wallen, Ricky Crawford, and Clester Ann Taylor. That was in 2023.
So Don and Candus was tied into those people, which was Marlena, and Marlena
accident.
was tied into Spider.
Marlena, yep. It was not done directly. It was by accident. I'm telling you, this was by accident. They were not tied in directly to them. That's the heartbreak about the whole situation.
So then what would make some people go after them? I mean, what would make them think the Wells were involved there, where they would have to go kidnap Summer?
Where, if I can tell you, that's where they stayed. That's where she spent a majority of her time. She was like there all the time. And that's the only thing. They didn't mean to take her to hurt her or kill her or anything. They were using her as collateral. And then all of a sudden it blew up. And they're like, oh, fuck, we got the wrong person. We got the wrong victim. We got the wrong person.
So nobody at the house. Grandis was asleep. The kids didn't see nothing. I mean, what did they come into the house?
Oh, but they did. No, listen, the kids did see something though. Here's the thing. When Candus went to the door and said, hey, Wyatt, watch Summer. You don't say that for 2 seconds, right? You say that when you're leaving. Hey, watch your sister, and get in your car and leave. And Grandis even said, I hate even calling her that. We call her, that's Candus, and we call
Candy.
Grandma. Listen, we call Grandma Candy, okay? So I don't like to call her Grandis. I feel it's very disrespectful. So Candy was sleeping in her trailer, and she heard Candus leave. And she'll tell you that I heard her leave. She was leaving to take Hunter home. And her timeline don't make sense because it's not true what she's telling. And that's why they look guilty. Her timeline does not make sense because she left. And when she left, that's when it happened.
But what I'm saying then, what did the boys see? Was Summer, if Summer was
listen,
inside with the
I'm gonna
boys,
tell you
how
this.
did the people get in the house and grab
Listen,
Summer without the
they
boys
didn't
seeing
get
it?
in the house, so
And why didn't they take the
Summer
boys?
No, listen, Summer went outside. And if you listen to what Ronnie Lawson says, and I have this interview, he says the boys said Summer was last seen walking out of the house and Summer left the home.
Now that much is true. That much is true. That Sheriff Ronnie Lawson did say that. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson did say that. Yes. Thank you, Joan, for the. Oh no, that's on Dolly's. I was thinking that was mine. I was thinking I got a $5 super chat. It's not. It's on Dolly's. Dolly got a $5 super chat. That's funny. That's funny. All right, I'm not going to play any more of that. We're going to go over to Ziggy's now. But first of all, I'm going to go and take Noodle out because he wants a wee. So please hold. I'll be back in 1 minute. Just going to go and take Noodle out. So please hold. I'm back. I'm back. Right. I need to make a longer please hold thing. That's a bit short, that one. All right. We're going to go to Ziggy's now. Like I said, I've only heard maybe the first couple of minutes of this conversation. So I don't know exactly what she said. Welcome, those who were just coming in. All right, let's have a look what she said on Ziggy's. I don't exactly know where I am.
I never had a doctor's appointment that
All right,
day. There's no way he went to Kansas.
Hold
But
on.
so you think, okay, so yeah, does he?
I'll just move it back a little bit.
But
no, it's her sister. That is his sister.
Oh, right, hold on. Right, we'll go there.
What do you want to ask me?
Betty is Candy's grandma. Well, it
no,
is
Betty's
disrespectful to say Grandis, but
no, it's her sister. Betty's his sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I've emailed them like multiple times, and Don and Candus won't acknowledge it.
Oh, you're trying to get a hold of them?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. What, babe? Listen. I'm not trying to I'm online right now. I'll be right in. Okay. All right. I love you.
Never had a doctor's appointment that
All right, love
day. There's no way he went to Kansas. But so you think, okay, so yeah, does anybody have any questions real quick for her? But somebody just said, I'm just going to read what they said. They said Hunter had a doctor's appointment that day and made
at 3 o'clock.
So there's no way he went to Kansas. But you think he was at Candus's?
Listen, Grandis went to sleep or whatever you guys call it.
So this doesn't make sense, does it? This does not make sense. Oh, thank you, Shaggy. This 5 is for you. Thank you. This doesn't make sense because she did right at the beginning, the bit that I heard, she said that Ricky Crawford isn't dead. So she clarified that. But she's now saying that Hunter had a doctor's appointment at 3 o'clock. So that confirms that Candus dropped him off before 3. Exactly. So if the video was at 3:09, the milk jugs photo was at 3:09. That was when Candus, Grandma, and Summer were on their way home. So she's confirming that Hunter could not have been at Ben Hill Road that afternoon because he had a doctor's appointment at 3. So that doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. I call her Candy. I don't know what you guys call her, but
you can just call her Candy.
Went to sleep. Okay, so she went to sleep, and if you listen to the interview with Ansley, she said I was napping because she didn't know what to talk, and Candus left. Okay, so there's a big, huge gap in her timeline, but they're innocent. They didn't do it. They had nothing to do with this baby missing. The only thing that they're guilty of is being shitty parents, and I'm not denying that. They are the shitty parents. And what happened is Candy fell asleep, and then when Candus got back, they made a concocted story because it's like the story, of in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I have one child. I don't want to sacrifice my other child. So Abel and Goliath or whatever the fuck they were called. I don't even know because I don't even follow the Bible. But when I'm
no, there wasn't a probation appointment. Wasn't that meant to be in the morning that there was a probation appointment? It was Andrew Hiltz, I think, that introduced the Hunter had a doctor's appointment into the thing. Like the first time the only time that Hunter spoke was on Chris McDonough on that interview. And he said he was going home to see his girlfriend. There was no mention of a doctor's appointment then. It was Andrew Hiltz, Hunter's dad, that introduced the doctor's appointment. But Hunter, I am convinced Hunter went home as they said he did. And this doesn't clarify the 3 hours in that between 3:30 and 6:30. It doesn't clarify it. It doesn't say where Candus was. Does she, for those who've listened to this, does she say anything different than she said on Dolly's? Like, is it even worth listening to? I mean, apart from her confirming that she was wrong about Ricky Crawford and Ricky Crawford was alive, does she say anything more significant? Because I haven't heard this part.
What I'm trying to tell you is she left, and so there's a gap in the timeline, and she can't make up for that gap, but she don't want to talk about it. She's like, oh, the perpetrator will know. Yeah, they know, all right, and she knows that they know because there's so many hours.
I don't know if Hunter and his girlfriend had a baby. I don't know. His girlfriend is Christy Mork's daughter, allegedly. I don't know whether it's Christy Mork's daughter or Christy Mork's daughter's friend. I wouldn't want to confirm that. Who has a Minnesota accent? Well, Grandma Candy and her family originally came from, like, they're up north, so Minnesota, Wisconsin. There's a sister, I think, that lives in Illinois now, a sister or a brother that lives in Illinois. But there are links, like the Hara family have links in Minnesota. Christy Mork is the daughter of Mary Gold. Mary Gold is Don Wells' step auntie. They live on Simpson Road. She said her and Grandis have kin in the holler. No, they don't. What, on Ben Hill Road? No, they don't. No, they don't. She's from Wisconsin. I saw it said in chat on Ziggy's. Yeah, Grandma is from Wisconsin. But the Hara family have links in Minnesota as well. Northern Wisconsin has similar accent as Minnesota. Yeah. But she's either got a sister or a brother in Illinois that she goes to visit. Yeah, that's right. Christy Mork is the girlfriend of Don Sherfy Sr. That's right. They're not travelers, no. They've just got a big family. There's a lot of them. Like Grandma Candy, I think, is the youngest of a big family. I've got all the family trees and everything. I've got it all. But some of them were from Minnesota. So it's believable. She definitely doesn't have a southern accent, a Tennessee accent. But I don't think it's true that she's got family in the holler. There's nothing wrong with travelers. I'm just saying that somebody asked if they were travelers, and although they did work for the carnival, like Candus worked for the carnival, but they're not part of the traveler community. They don't come from the traveler community. As far as I know, they don't. I do have all the family trees. One day I'll show you them all. It'll be very, very boring. It'll be very boring. I've got the Haras back. Hold on. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to open it in a different window. Hold on. I'll open it in a different window. I've got so many family trees. All right. I don't want to show some of these names because some of these people are still alive. So I'll start there. Right. So we've got Marshall Hara. That's her dad. Henry Hara. We've got these, and grandma's a cook, Cora Candus Cook. We've got, and the cooks go back all that way. And then we've got the Haras who go back up here. And the Haras originally came from Germany. Up here. How far am I back now? 1770. And none of the Haras, as far as I know, have ever lived in Tennessee, and none of their offspring have ever lived in Tennessee. Not as far as I know. Now I may have missed some because this isn't complete. Because what I'm kind of doing is going up the generations rather than across. So it's quite possible I could have missed some, but having family in the holler, no, they don't. They do not have family in that holler. They do not. I've got so much research, so much of it. All right.
But what I'm trying to tell you is she left, and so there's a gap in the timeline, and she can't make up for that gap, and she don't want to talk about it. She's like, "Oh, the perpetrator will know." Yeah, they know, all right, and she knows that they know because there's so many hours there. And what I'm trying to tell you guys is like this whole group knew that there was a nurse, and they knew somebody penetrated and told on them, and they told law enforcement. Okay, so what they did is when they got actual proof, when Spider got busted, they said, okay, we're coming now. But they weren't coming for the Wells, they were coming for the Crawfords. And the state.
No, she's just saying the same she did on Dolly's, and it doesn't make sense. Spider got busted the month after. Imagine Peace, thank you for joining the memberships. She says her last name is Gooch. Okay, she might have married someone called Gooch. Like I said, I tend to go up rather than across. I've got some of the across. Did I speed it up a little bit? Yeah. Is it too fast? It's on 1.25. Don's cuz stayed with Don's mum before the Wells moved there. They did. There was, yes, some of Don's cousins, yeah. So there was briefly, Karen Gord's mum and dad lived there briefly. And I think it was the Van der Veens. So I think it was Karen's sister and her husband lived there and their kids. For a while, but that's on Don's side, not on Candus's side, because this person is from Candus's side, not from Don's side. Michelle would be an amazing instructor, college professor. Well, that was my previous job, so that might be why. All right, I'm going to skip a bit forward just to see if she says anything different.
He said Marlena Crawford is who they meet.
Oh, lip locked. Yeah, the Van der Veens. Yeah, I think that's a cool name, Van der Veen. Yeah, there was. It must be Karen's sister and her husband, so they were the Van der Veens, and then one or more of their kids, so they would be Don's cousins.
Law enforcement needs to be talking to.
I believe them, and I
yeah.
agree with
I mean,
them.
I always feel like Marlena Crawford. She's there's something. And
so
maybe
at first,
huh?
At first, we had a few discussions. They're like, okay, what's going on?
But I said Cook was a family last name. Yeah, on the Hara side. I mean, the Cook is a very, very common surname. It's a very common surname in Britain as well. It's a very common surname. But that's on, so Candus, Grandma Candy's grandma was a cook. But again, that's on the Hara side. Don't you find it strange that Don Schaefer Jr.'s family is all mixed up in alibis and whereabouts, and his uncle lost his phone that day? I find the Schaefers very, very, very suspicious. Very suspicious. What's a Henry? It's an eighth of for like weed, eighth of an ounce. A Hoover.
Going on, we thought the tree trimmers, we thought maybe they dropped a tree on her and killed her and hit her body, because they're immigrants and they didn't want to get like deported. I'm like, no, that's far-fetched. Like, get rid of that shit. So we kept digging and digging and digging. And the more we dug, the more we realized this was not Donnie and Candus. This was not them. They were not the intended targets. And people are coming after me like, you're not related to her. I'm like, yeah, look at Betty. Look at Betty here.
All right, so she can prove this then. If she's dug and dug and dug, well, what information has she got? Because if she can prove it to YouTube, if the TBI don't believe her, she could at least prove it to YouTube by showing her research. Not a few names, and like Ricky Crawford and Marlena Crawford that we all know anyway, and this Spider guy who was arrested a month after Summer went missing. So cannot be a retaliation. Cannot be. And a drug baron would not retaliate for the loss of 13 grams of weed and 7 grams of meth. Where's the proof? There's no proof.
My aunt.
Or could you see? Could you? What about Jody Sue? Do you think it could have been Jody Sue was the target?
No.
No,
I don't. Because Andy was not. Everybody thinks he's this big drug dealer, big monster. He might have been to Jody Sue, but not really. No, he was not. He was not this big drug dealer. He was not that. No, he was the small potatoes in this whole scheme of things, right?
Well, so was Spider. He wasn't caught with a bunch of guns and a bunch of drugs. He was found with 1 gun and a tiny amount of drugs. So he's not a big fish either.
He was not the drug dealer that people were going after. No, it was not Andy. It was not Andy Bernard. Nope.
So
I'm telling you, look at Marlena Crawford. She's the answer. She's the cornerstone to this whole thing. And when they say, okay, Candus is guilty of something. She is guilty. She's guilty of lying about the timeline. And that's all she did. She lied about the timeline. But Donnie and Candus are innocent. They did not hurt that baby. They may have been shitty parents, and I'm not going to say they were the best parents in the world, but they loved their kids. And it was a good unit. That's all the kids knew, right?
Yeah.
So the kids didn't know any different. They didn't know any difference. So
right.
They loved.
But do you think it's possible that Ron and do you think it's possible? That they didn't have anything to do with it, but do you think that they actually have figured it out though?
No.
That it had to do with Marlena and stuff?
No. Right now, to this day, if I called Candy or Candus, they'd hang up on me. No, they don't. They won't listen. No, because Rose. Because
so even Candy and Candus won't listen to this story. Even they won't listen. No, there's something off with this. No, something off with this.
The Rose, right? Because this is not the first time we've been through this shit. We've been through this shit multiple times with them. We've been through it with Rose, with Candy, and now Summer. Like her daughter went missing. She ran away when she was a teenager. But we didn't know that. We didn't know what the fuck happened. So we were like putting out flyers like, oh.
Where does Spider live? Hold on. Well, in 2021, when he was busted, he was living at, it's on here somewhere. There. 456 Hidden Valley Road in Rogersville. He's living in prison now. Yeah. So he was busted. I don't know how many years he got or anything. All I was interested is in the date. Could this story be confirmed by the date? And no, it can't. Unfortunately, no, she's wrong. It can't be.
Holy shit, she's gone. You know, just like Rose. So this is the third time, not the second time, the third time we've been through the shit with them.
No. No, Rose didn't run away when she was a teenager. What she's talking about was Candus Floden. So this was Candus, so Summer's mother's first daughter. But she didn't grow up with Candus. She grew up in a foster family. And she ran away with her friend when she was a teenager. But she was only gone a few days, and she either returned or they found her. So it wasn't like this big missing persons case at all. She ran away from a foster home, but she either came back, she was only missing a few days. So I don't even count a runaway teenager with a troubled life as a missing persons case. I mean, obviously it was at the time, but it pales into comparison when you think about Rose Bly, who's been missing since when she got missing? 2009, I think. Maybe, I can't remember the year. Somebody will tell me in the chat. She's been missing for years and years and years. And then we've got Summer Wells, who's been missing for 2 years. A runaway teenager who comes back, who's perfectly fine, just ran away with her friend, is insignificant. So this is not the third time for this family. It's the second time for this family, because Candus Floden didn't even grow up with this family. August 21st, 2009. Thank you, Liplock. I knew someone would know. I thought it was 2009. I couldn't remember if it was 2009 or 2010.
So
wow. And then also, you also think that Allie, her close friend, has also gone through something similar to her daughter running away and stuff like that.
Talking about True?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about True. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so True, Allie's daughter, Hunter's sister, same thing, ran away for a day or 2 days or whatever. Not the same thing as someone being disappeared for 2 years or for 14 years in Rose Bly's case, nearly.
Yeah.
Well, listen, because these people are poor, and so children think that they have a better opportunity outside the family, right? So True's like, okay, I can make it better. I have better opportunities here if I go there, if I go with this guy or that guy, or do this or do that. I'm not going to speak on that, because like that's just.
Allie knew where True was. Yeah. Not the same thing at all. How long's she on?
People, I emailed you their names. So those two people right there are the people that are in charge of it. And
hold on, she's saying names. Hold on, let's go back a bit.
No. He did earlier, like 18 years earlier, but John and Candus are innocent 100%. I swear, hand to God, they're innocent. I swear to you, they had nothing to do with this. This was nothing to do with them. This is like, those people, I emailed you their names. So those two people right there are the people that are in charge of it. And I'm telling you, these are the people that did this because they knew there was a narc and that.
Is that
and
are those articles that you sent me? Are you the people in those screenshots? Is that what you're talking about?
Okay, so that's like 30 days after Summer went missing, right? Because they knew, yes, they were directly related to that, and they knew it, but they weren't looking for Summer. They were not after Summer. I swear to you, they were not after Summer. They were after the Crawfords. I don't even know how else to put it. They were just after the Crawfords.
Have you felt like this? How long?
Does she say the names?
I just feel like if they were involved with, because I believe I can totally see what you're saying. I could totally see how it could fit. just like, but then I get to the fact of whether or not Dawn and
Wait,
Candus.
can I ask you one question? I sent you something where I sent you an address and I showed you within 2 weeks after Summer went missing, they went from living under a bridge paying cash for that house. How'd that happen?
So 2 weeks after Summer went missing, a person she's emailed Ziggy about went from living under a bridge to living in a house. She's going to have to provide the evidence here. She's going to have to.
I don't know. I didn't.
How does she know so much? Exactly. How does she know so much? If they were after the Crawford girl, why didn't they come back for her? Yes. If they knew they'd stolen the wrong kid, and sadly they had to dispose of her because they'd stolen the wrong kid, why is Marlena's kid not been kidnapped? Because if they've got the wrong person, then they haven't affected that family at all, have they? So you're right, absolutely.
Have one to, and to have the other.
Right.
Anyways.
Right. And see, some YouTubers like Dutch, however you want to call it, but there's like people like we keep reaching out, and people are like they dismiss us. They're like, oh.
Well, I'm dismissing this because there isn't any evidence whatsoever that this happened. If the dates lined up, then yes, at least I could say, all right, this makes sense that this person was arrested. Let's dig a little bit deeper. But all the things she's saying, there's no evidence for. None. I don't know what it means, that a person living under a bridge to a house or what. Well, I guess it means that they have money. But they didn't sell Summer. So if they took Summer mistakenly out of retaliation and then they had to dispose of her because they got the wrong kid, then no money exchanged hands. So the person living under the bridge didn't come into a windfall because he'd sold a child, because the child is dead. Doesn't make sense. None of it. I mean, it makes Candus's 3-hour timeline that virtually nothing happened in apart from planting a few cacti. It makes it seem plausible compared to this. This is why people are dismissing it, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't help. And this is why the TBI have dismissed it. Convince me otherwise. Show me the evidence. Other than some newspaper articles that don't line up with the dates that you're talking about.
You're hillbillies, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, we really think we do. And nobody's listening. I'm telling you, Donnie and Candus didn't do this. And if they did, I'd be the first to like scream up and down.
You have talked.
And even if they didn't, it doesn't mean to say that this theory is the thing that actually happened to Summer Wells. I can understand if she really is a family member that she wants to defend her cousin. I can get it. I get it. Right? I'd be the same. But I wouldn't have waited 2 years to come and defend my cousin. I'd have come out immediately. I mean, all right, maybe not immediately, because maybe this did take some research. But once I had that research, if TBI were ignoring me, I'd have been everywhere, all over the internet. I'd have made my own channel and presented all of that evidence. And then TBI would have to listen, because I'd present it all and say, look, this. And if it was all logical and it made sense, then you can lay it all out. Make your own channel and lay it all out. It's not difficult to set up a YouTube channel. You've got a Google account, you can set up a YouTube channel in minutes. And you go live, you don't need anything fancy. Just go live, present all your evidence. So you're not having to rely on creators not believing you or anything like that. Just set up your own channel. We'll all subscribe, we'll all listen if this all makes sense. But otherwise, I'm sorry. It's a no from me. It's a no from me at this moment in time.
To law enforcement, or tried to get a hold of law enforcement and stuff?
We got a hold of TBI and Ronnie Lawson.
Yeah.
But how can I say this about Ronnie? We think he's corrupt. I don't know how to explain that. We don't have faith in Hawkins County. So we turn everything over to TBI and they blow us off. They really do. With the TBI line, because the TBI hotline, they blow us off. But we don't have faith in Ronnie Lawson. We don't. Because you know my last name.
And neither do I, to be fair. I don't have any faith in Ronnie Lawson. But all the tips go to 1-800 TBI find. All the tips go to the TBI. So you don't even need to speak to Ronnie Lawson. Ronnie Lawson's irrelevant because the tips go to the TBI. Who's we? I think the family. I think she means the family. But even Candus and Candy won't listen to her theory. So if the family are not even listening, the only thing she's got left, right, if creators are not believing her, the only thing she's got left is to make her own channel. Very easy to do. Make her own channel and present all the evidence. Just present it. All of it. And then, you know, if you get some people on board who will support what you're saying, look. In the Summer Wells community, we have some fantastic researchers. Fantastic researchers. I mean, I like to do research, but I'm not the only person who likes to do research. There's a lot of good creators who will put the time in. If you give us a theory that makes sense, we'll dig and dig and dig until we get everything. But at the moment, all we've got is someone called Spider who was arrested at 2 a.m. But unfortunately, it was a month after Summer disappeared. So no, not a retaliation kidnap. She has a Wisconsin accent, and I'm wondering if it's the other sister. It's Candus's cousin. It's not Candus's sister, it's Candus's cousin. And yes, they are from up north, like Wisconsin area. Mishu, what's your theory? I'd love to give you all my theory. What's my therapy, Mishu? I think you mean theory. Oh, I don't want to be brutalized for your opinion. I mean, yes, you can get, you know, if people don't agree with you, people can be a bit harsh, but I promise you, just say it. If there's any meanies, then the mods will just get rid of them. Get you. If you mean, you'll get timed out for 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes.
If you knew what my last name was, and you look up, there's a history of a drug bust between the Lawsons, my family, and the Lights. So we have a not me, my people before me.
I could probably guess your last name, but I'm not going to do that because, I mean, obviously, if you're not the Light, if your last name's not.
So her family has had history with the Lights, etc. Okay. So how is she reconciling that with Candus is not from Tennessee? How is all that being reconciled?
Light, and if it's not
no, it starts with a G.
A G?
Nope, with a G. Yep.
How many Henrys are 300 seconds?
A G.
Yep.
Like as G as in George?
Yep.
Yep. Griffin? Or
nope.
Hold on.
Nope. It's not Griffin. No, so you're
We'll
gonna
end up
Google
guessing
me.
it. Oh, goad? No way.
No, that's not how you pronounce it. That's not how you pronounce it. No.
Is it so? So it's goad, but I'm just saying it wrong.
Maybe. I think you are because I really think you're saying it wrong.
How am I saying?
So is she saying she's a gold? That's Don's side. Wait, what? She's saying she's a gold.
Goad.
G-O. Is it G-O?
Yeah, G-O-A-D.
No, that's not it.
Oh.
What? So she's not a gold, right? Okay. If she was a gold, then I'd be very, very interested in her family tree. She's not a gold. She says she's not a gold.
So it must be really close to that.
No, there was a big major drug bust with meth and the life and my last name
And the
Lawsons.
Lawsons.
Yeah.
And Bernard's.
No, there's only like 3 or 4 of them. But there was major.
Was there no Bernards? I was thinking there was like 2 Bernards or something.
Yeah, no.
But anyways, who's Wild Bill?
No.
Wild Bill. Do you know somebody who goes by Wild Bill in that area?
Nope.
Wild Bill.
Nope.
That sounds familiar actually, because I'm trying to think. I think I do remember somebody talking about a Wild Bill, but I can't.
Yeah, but Wild Bill, no, nothing to do with us.
Well, I do agree with you about Hawkins County, and Hawkins County, he might be even tied into the stuff that Marlene.
Current theory is in your last 7-minute video. I'm so nervous. Please don't come for me. I'd have to go and look what my last 7-minute video was. What the hell is a gold? Donwell's stepdad was William Gold. So Karen, who's Don's mother, was Karen Gold. She married into the Gold family. But this woman here is not that.
Is involved.
Yes. Yeah. And so is Ronnie Lawson. That's funny because the Lawsons, so there was a major drug bust, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there were 3 families in the area. Let me get my little book out so I can give you factual information.
Wild Bill Hitchcock.
Hear me rustling. These are the people. Yeah, the Bernards, the Lawsons, and the my last name.
I know what drug bust she's talking about.
Those people were involved in such a major drug bust.
Yeah.
And
I think that Jody Sue is tied into that too. I thought that she was accused of being one of the snitches of that. That's why I was wondering if are you sure that Jody Sue wasn't the target? Because I've always been told that Jody Sue was a snitch. And I think if it was Kenny, what's his name, Kenneth Lawson or some Kenny Lawson, I think he was one of the ones that was arrested, and supposedly Jody Sue was the one that snitched on him. I don't know.
No. Okay, so I'm going through my notes. I'm like, no. So this.
Why would you need to go through your notes if it's your family's last name? Now that doesn't make sense. Why would you have to go through your notes to look up a last name that's your family's last name? What on earth? I feel like I've smoked the 13 grams of pot and the 7 grams of meth. I feel like I've experienced some kind of problem with my brain because this does not. Sorry, cuz you're not making any sense. Sorry, cuz.
No, she was not. She was not one of the snitches that gets get stitches.
Well, she
Like,
openly talks like she's a freak, that she's like Ronnie Lawson's like number one.
She wants like she needs money to support herself and her family, right? So she needs money. She needs like the cash app, like the clicks, views, and likes. She needs that shit. She needs that to survive. But that's not the truth. And there's no cornbread mafia. There's none of that bullshit. And like the lights, yeah, they did deal mess, but they were like little dealers compared to what I'm talking about. They were like popcorn fart. They were nothing.
If it was anything like cornbread from Mafia, it would be more to do with the moonshine or people making moonshine. That because that's big in the area.
No. My grandpa got ran off the mountain running moonshine. No. That's not moonshiners. No.
That would be more likely to me, though.
Your grandpa was not on the mountains of Tennessee. If you're Candus's cousin, your grandpa was not on the mountains of Tennessee. Prove to me your grandpa. Right, let's do it this way. Prove to me that your grandpa was a moonshiner who got run off the mountains in Tennessee. Let's do it that way. Let's err on the side of caution and say, okay, who's grandpa? Where did he live? What mountain did he get run off? And then at least we can look him up.
That would have something to do with moonshine and the cornbread mafia.
No, honey. Listen, no, the moonshine.
No, she's not a cousin to the Wells. Even the Wells are not from Tennessee. The Wells are not from Tennessee either. Thank you, Patricia, for the $9.99. That's very kind of you. KO. Thank you. No, she's not. She said she's Candus's cousin. She's Candus's cousin. So Grandma Candy would be her auntie. They're from up north. They're from Wisconsin, Minnesota, that area. Why we're listening to this liar? I'm having a laugh at this point. I'm having a laugh with her at this point. She's nah. I'm not surprised that the creators that she's approached so far and the TBI have discredited and not listening. Thank you, Litlock. Thank you for the $10. Go, Michelle, go. She forgot to look at her notes for her own family's name, yeah. No way.
And there's had nothing, I promise you, on my life and my soul has nothing.
Oh, no, I don't think that they did either. I don't. No, not at all. I have heard that theory, though. I have from locals.
What I'm telling you is these guys are meth and coke dealers, and they come from Rolling Mountain and Johnson City, and they have nothing to do with that. Nothing. Mm-hmm. They couldn't make moonshine if you asked them to. No. And I already provided the names of those two people to you, and I'm telling you, if I'm living and breathing, and our family believes that Summer was not the intended target, and Hillbilly already contacted me and said, "You're not related to them." I'm like, "You don't even know who I am. You have no idea, Hillbilly. Like, you have no idea." Betty is my aunt, and that's Candus's aunt, right? That's her mom's sister, and that's my aunt too. So fuck off. Like, I am related to them.
Right. Okay. So Betty, who's Grandma Candy's sister, is her aunt. So yeah, she's a cousin. But who's your grandpa? What mountain was he thrown off of? And yeah, go back to your notes, because you might need to find your grandpa's name in those notes or something.
And
he's talking to me in the chat.
Yeah, because Hillbilly thinks, Hillbilly says Candus denies knowing her.
Well, I think Candus probably has a really big family. I mean, it seems like
they do.
Out there.
We do. No, look, we do. We do have there's 1,000 cousins and uncles and mothers and brothers and shit, but we still talk. Like, listen, I'm telling you, we still fucking talk.
Okay, all right. They do. Grandma Candy had a big family. She was the youngest, she was the youngest, and they had a big family. and they had a big family, and they had a big family, and they had a big family. All right. So just completely by chance, her grandpa ended up in the Tennessee mountains, and her family now live, that Candus now has family in the very same hollow that she ended up living in, simply because her husband, Don Wells, his mother, inherited a property from her husband when he died. And now that is some coincidence. That is some coincidence. And this very same hollow, so Ben Hill Road, that her family ended up in, right, is the very same hollow that Summer Wells disappeared from. How come none of us in 2 years have worked out that Candus had family in the very same hollow? Why? Because it's not happened. That's not happened. That is not a thing. It is not happened. Candus does not have family on Ben Hill Road. If she does, I'm going to throw it back. If she does, who are they? Who are they? And why do we not know them? Because we need to be looking very carefully at them. Because if they've stayed incommunicado for 2 years and none of us have found them in 2 years, I think it's time to look at them. So who are they? Prove to me that they are your family. Stardust, Shorty member for 7 months. Thank you, thank you. It's too far-fetched. I do like a good rabbit hole, so if she can tell me who her family are and where they live on Ben Hill Road, you know, they might live in one of those little shacks in the hills somewhere. Gooch has Sherfy connections from my notes. Well, maybe she'll find it in her notes as well. Maybe she'll find it in her notes. Because at the moment, she's having to look up her notes for her own family's name.
And they're innocent. They didn't do it.
This has turned into a proper roast. I didn't intend it to. And I'm not disrespecting this woman, but if a theory comes to light that somebody believes that does not make sense, then I'm going to tell you it does not make sense. And I'm going to ask you to prove it. Convince me. I'm open to any theory as long as you can convince me. Goalie, yes, the goalies live on Ben Hill Road. They have a nice house. The goalies do, but is she a goalie? Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. She might be a goalie.
They love it.
I'm confused though, like why people are talking about Brandy Neal though. Like nobody's talking bad about Brandy Neal. That's a completely different case. I don't know why somebody thought that
it has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, or if somebody's. I don't know.
No, this has to do with Summer. Yeah, no, they're Monkey and Summer are two different people. No, nothing.
I don't know. It just looks like somebody upset.
Let's do a call-in show. She seems to like those. Yeah. No, you're all right.
Say something about Brandy and Neal that nobody's talking about because I don't understand that. That's my name's been wrapped up with that before. Like I'm like somebody. I've never said anything negative about Brandy Neal, and I don't know how my name's ever been wrapped up in that. But I've heard a couple people like accuse me of that, and I'm like, I've never said anything bad about Brandy Neal.
What? Why have we got onto Brandy Neal? Why are we talking about Michael? What? The other lady named Gooch in the drug bust. Well, maybe she'll find it in her notes in a minute.
Oh, she hung up, I think.
Oh, she's hung up. Oh, no. Does she come back? Hold on.
That's okay, because I need to go anyways. Because want the attention and stuff. I can see like.
Oh, we just got to the good bit and she hung up. Oh no. Oh, gutted. I'm gutted. Do you know what? I feel like we've ended on a real cliffhanger. Her battery died. Oh no. All right. Well, maybe she'll come back for the next installment. And maybe it will all make sense when she comes back and we deal with it. We deal with it with all the evidence, who her grandpa is, what moonshine he was trading off which mountain and why he got thrown off of it. Oh, cliffhanger. There's a series on Netflix called Salvation, and it did about, I don't know how many series it did, how many seasons it did, 3, 4, I'm not sure, but it ended on a massive cliffhanger, and then they decided not to do another season. And I'm still smarting about that. I'm still smarting about Salvation getting cancelled on this the biggest cliffhanger I've ever seen in my life. So now I feel like we're just left hanging with this cliffhanger, and she needs to charge her battery and get back onto someone's show. Yeah, she's gone. The battery died. She got confused in her own conspiracy. Maybe she'll come back with the evidence soon. We're going to have to be checking all these live streams out now to see whether she's back somewhere. How long have I been on? Blimey, I've been on nearly 3 hours. Do you know what? I meant to do like an hour and a half and do a Q&A and talk about theories and answer some questions. I'm not surprised. I feel just exhausted now. I feel really tired. So I'm going to go, I'm afraid. I'm going to go, but I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back very soon, especially if this woman comes back on a live. Because I need this proof. I need this proof. But for now, I'm going to go. So thank you very much for being kind and respectful in the chat. And thank you for the donations. Welcome to the new members. Thank you, as always, to the mods. You do a great job. Dead battery to the rescue. Yeah, we all get a dead battery when we need rescuing. We do. All right, guys. I'll be back very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, wherever you are in the world. Bye, guys.